What's up, people? It is me, Skunk Commentary, your stinky friend on the internet. God, what? I need to get better nicknames for my channel. Today, man, we're talking about a an idea that people has been having here in Sweden. At least our government has had, and that idea is that we should maybe make it forbidden to have phones in school. Now, with that, they're meaning like when every school day begin, they take the phones, or they tell the kids to leave the phones in the locker, or something like that. It really does depend really on which school it is and all that shit. But people want to do that as a thing in school. And I do not really know what I feel about this decision. On one hand, yes, it is a good thing that to not have the kids focusing on their phones instead of focusing on the teacher, because that is a problem in modern society, that kids spend too much time on their phones. Which schools, however, they kind of overhype the whole issue. I mean, I've had so many classes where the teachers have said that, oh, the phones, this is what happens, and they make every kid stupid and all that shit. And yeah, that has been going on ever since phones were invented, because this is always the case with grown-ups. When it comes to something new that every kid is doing, it is harmful to them. For example, this might sound like a boomer thing, but back really in the day, this was before my time, so it is not like I was a victim of this, but I have heard a lot of stories from this time. And that is that when comics, yes, you're made correctly, comics became a thing. Parents were afraid that they were gonna make their kids' brains into fucking walnuts or something, and people thought that that was the most evil thing ever. And it's the same now with phones, which I'm not wrong with this. There's always been these adults that are like, when something new comes into society, that is always the devil. That is always, Satan's work and all that shit. Yeah. But they've never learned from their experiences with when they had something that was, from their time. And I'm going to be now, let's actually move on to the topic of phones in school, because it really is about how well the kids can control the phone. If they're all on the phone all the time throughout the lessons, then yeah, they probably cannot control their phone. I'll be fucking honest about that. And if it's like that, yeah, then they're probably ruining the lesson for themselves and the entire class. All that. They won't learn as much, is what I'm trying to say. But the thing is, if that is what the kid decides to do, then it's their fucking fault. I personally do not sit on my phone the entire class. I personally just sit on my computer, which in my school we have computers. I sit on that computer and I try and study and do some stuff that is actually good, instead of sitting and scrolling on TikTok the entire fucking lesson, which if you're just sitting scrolling TikTok the entire lesson, then yeah, you should probably not have your phone because you can't control yourself. If you can't listen to what the teachers have to say throughout the lessons, then yeah, then it's a problem. But if a kid can control themselves around their phone, then yeah, they should probably not steal that from the kid. It is really about the kid. And I know that at the beginning of a school year, the teachers can't judge a kid like, oh, this kid, he probably uses his phone all the time. Or, oh, this kid probably never uses their phone. But, yeah, the thing is, when it comes to phones, it's not always the kids that are the problem too. A lot of times there are kids, I've heard stories about kids getting neglected because their parents are just on their phones. So, phone addictions, it is not just kids. I'll be brutally honest with that. And also, when it comes to the topic of phones in school, there will always be those who are like, who say that, oh, no kid can handle themselves around the phone. And it was the same back in the day about television when I got raised. Oh, kids, they can't do their chores and all that shit because of the TVs. Kids get lazy and fat because of the TVs. Which is not always the thing, but yeah, whatever. And this is just, oh, fuck no, I hate maybe. But the thing about this topic with kids being on their phones is a really big topic because there's no real right or wrong answer. And it just depends from kid to kid. That is what it really is about. If there's two kids and one can control themselves around their phone, you know, just have it on the table all day and just using it if it is something important, like if they get a call or if they want to contact one of their friends who doesn't live close by. Which, take this from a guy who, a couple of my best friends lives in different parts of the countries than I do. And I love to have contact with my friends. And I think everyone loves to be with their friends. And that is what phones have enabled. Because before phones, could you have a good contact with a friend who lived in another part of the country? Yes, you could send letters. But the thing is, you'd get a response in like a week after. Or not back in the day. Back in the day, postal services here in Sweden actually was good. So back then you could get a response in about 2 days. But nowadays you can't. Because firstly, the postal services here in Sweden is shit. If I send away a letter to a friend, they might get it in like 5 months. No, they might get it in 5 days. And yeah, it was better back in the day, so with the postal services at least. And nowadays you can just send a text. Let's say I want to talk to my best friend. Oh, I'll call him up right now on the Snapchat or on normal phone. But then you had to either try and meet up, travel across the entire country, or you just have to. You would have to travel across the entire country, or send a fucking letter or something. Jesus Christ! And now, people are complaining that, oh, kids, phones are bad for them. No. If they can't handle it, yes. Otherwise, no. And taking phones away in school is not going to help. It is not going to help that they're going to be extra strict about it. Because if people are going to be extra strict about it, that just... When it comes to kids, especially rebellious kids, if something is forbidden, then they will do it. Then the chance of them doing it increases sometimes. And I know this because back in my old school, back in grades 7 to 9, if there was something that was forbidden in school, people would do it a lot more than they did when it was not forbidden. So, yeah, I'll just say that. Because taking away phones in school, it does not help a single crap. It just makes more unnecessary rules. And it won't help. It won't help the majority of kids by removing their phones. They will just be then complaining. Then they will probably be more focused on for like, oh, I wonder if my friend will text me back. They won't be like, oh, my phone's gone. Because the problem is not the phones. The problem is the kid's addiction to it. And if a kid is addicted to their phone, going around on it 24/7, then that is the problem. It is not if they keep the phone during the lesson or not. It's not always that it... And the thing is, no matter what I say about this, the people who are anti-phone, they'll still be like, oh, you're just another phone-addicted teen who sits all on TikTok. The thing is, I don't even have TikTok, so no, I'm sitting on Discord and Snap all day instead. Which is probably more sad. And I'm not really on TikTok. They endorse stupid fucking shit, but on I'm gonna leave it slowly. But this thing is on a lot of social medias. It is not I don't know how to explain this. I'm just rambling on right now because of how fucking stupid this thing is entirely. And the thing is, back in my grades old school from grades 7, 8, 9, we had a rule in the classroom that was that all phones would be handed in to the teacher at the beginning of each lesson, which was a good thing because as a non-phone addicted person, I did not care if my phone was handed in or not during lessons because it did not matter. And then there was some lessons where it was more nice to have a phone on. For example, during sports class, it was really nice to, just go and listen to music if the lesson was going on a walk. And then it was pretty nice to, have a phone with you and sitting on and walking around with music on the phone and like you do. And then the problem was not during that lessons if someone had a phone or not, kids would still skip going on that walk. It did not matter if they had a phone or not. And the thing is, there are still kids in every class in high school or whatever part of school in the education, whatever state in the education system you are, there will still be some kids that will go away during lessons because they are not inspired, and they will go away and do some other shit the entire lesson, and it does not matter for them if they have their phone on them or not. They will still go away and smoke in the corridors or something. And it doesn't matter, like I said, if they have their phone or not. And as a person who has witnessed this firsthand, I can guarantee that it did not matter if they had their phone on them or not. And they would otherwise just hide the phone in their clothes. You know, placing it in some places where it was harder to reach the phone, something, or when it looked like they did not have the phone on them. So people will still get around it, even if it becomes a rule or not. Because these kids who goes around with who's on their phone the entire lesson, they do not give a fuck about the lesson, or they do not give a fuck about that rule. And I know it isn't always like that. Sometimes you have to check your phone because you get an important message from, like, oh, a grandparent died. Then yeah, if they do not have their phone on them during that lesson, then yeah, that is some fucking messed up stuff. Then they won't at least and get those news. And I know the situations are not always that deep, but when it comes to this entire topic, if a person goes around, there's just so much good things that phones can use for. Like I said, if you get an urgent and important message, then yeah, then you can need your phone, and you never know if you're gonna get an important message. And the thing is, that is the case that why people should at least be allowed to have phones on them in school. There's one of many reasons why. But I've been talking about this topic for long enough. I'll see you guys next one. Have a great video. Or have a great day. I'm fucking proud of this shit.